So you're wondering if you have masculine or feminine energy. I've got about 10 minutes. Let's talk about it. So just for a moment, let's go beyond the ideas of masculine energy or feminine energy. Now, I can tell you in 2 seconds which one you have. And no, you don't have both. You have one. And there's so much discussion, right, around the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And am I too masculine or am I too in my feminine? And is he too in his feminine or is he too in his masculine? And while I think that these are very important discussions, I do think that they've become sort of a distraction and even a bit disempowering as we think about how we interact with ourselves and how we interact with the world. So for a moment, let's just play here. Forget about them, okay? Forget about masculine energy, forget about feminine energy, and let's go into the idea that you have qualities that are so important that are way beyond masculinity or femininity. Okay. And I'm going to give you some questions that are going to help you to really get deep into this and to really define who you are beyond the energetics of your masculinity or your femininity. Okay. So when I ask a woman or a man, who are you? They almost always, I would say 98% of the time, they give me a role. They tell me their role in their life, right? The roles that they identify with. I am a mom. I'm an entrepreneur. I am a wife. I am a doctor. I am a sister. I am a daughter. I am a cousin, right? You ask a man, who are you? I am the CEO of this company. I am an investor. I am a founder. I am a plumber, right? Whatever their role is. And this is where we get really stunted in our capacity to relate to ourselves and in our capacity to relate to others because that is not who you are. That is the role that you operate in, maybe according to your identity and in your day-to-day life. However, I'm here to challenge you to explore and consider and intentionally create the qualities and characteristics of who you be every single day, even if you had no role, even if you had no title. Who are you and how do you show up? So number one, who am I? That's the question. Who am I? I am Katie. That is the name my parents gave me. Katie Lynn, if you found me on social media. But I'm Katie. I am loving. I am discerning. I am fiery. I am peaceful. I am creative. I'm also intelligent. I'm very curious. I'm passionate. These are the qualities. These are the qualities of who I be, regardless of my role, regardless of my role. I am responsible. I am compassionate. I am loving. I am fierce. I am really, really open. And I can also be closed off. I can also be judgmental. I can also be critical. I can also be short sighted. I can also be, right? This is all a part of it too. And I'm asking you to do the really courageous thing of taking an honest inventory of who am I? Because you can't change what you can't see. And if you can't identify it, then you can't see it, which means it's still running you, right? Just because I can't see the sky right now doesn't mean that the sky is gone. It just means that I can't see it right now. And so we really get to look at all of these qualities and all of these characteristics and get super, super transparent with ourselves and go, yeah, I can be insecure and I can be argumentative in moments and I can be afraid and I can also be the opposite of those things, right? And so as we take a look at who am I, transcend the roles and forget about the masculine and feminine energy. Question number 2, how am I bringing these qualities and characteristics into the world? How do they show up every day? Again, we're not talking about roles. We're talking about how do you talk to the IRS man when they call you or when you need to call them? How do you treat the people that serve you at restaurants? How do you treat your kids at home when you've had a really long hard day? How do you regard your husband when he has done something that maybe hurt your feelings or offended you? How do you talk to yourself when you think that no one can hear you? How do you move when you feel pressured? Who do you become when you feel like you're carrying a heavy load that nobody else is carrying? These are the real moments when we get to experience ourselves, right? That whole metaphor of if you squeeze an orange, what comes out? It's not apple juice, it's orange juice, And it's like that idea that like, oh, I'm so loving and I just give and I overgive. Okay, well, let's take inventory of that and let's ask if that's in the goodness of others or if it's coming from a place of insecurity and not enoughness and unworthiness from you, right? Is it covert people pleasing? Is it being transactional without thinking that you're being transactional, but at the end of the day, it's transactional? So how am I bringing these qualities and characteristics into the world? Next question, is it working for me? Now, I would say that up until now, up until you and I sitting together, it is working for you in some way, shape, or form. And that may be a metaphorical rock that you have yet to overturn. So everyone is always doing what is working for them. And that is regardless of whether it is adaptive or maladaptive. Okay. The question is it working for me with regard to, is it bringing me closer to who I desire to be in the world in my fullest expression? You know what I mean? Like, as a woman who is committed to the safety of her children, if my children are being threatened, then you're going to see a different version of me than if my children are not being threatened. And I am absolutely a stand for that. Do you know what I mean? So this is not about perfection. This is not about being a doormat in any way, shape, or form. I absolutely expect you to be discerning. I absolutely expect you to be principled, and principled with intention, principled while being anchored into who you are being, right? Next question. Is it facilitating me into the person I desire to be? Again, man or woman, masculine or feminine energy. Is this way of being? Is this quality? Is this characteristic? Is it bringing me closer and helping me embody the woman that I want to be? Or is it taking me further away? Is it keeping me committed to old cycles and old patterns and old thought patterns and old identities that maybe my mom embodied? Maybe I learned from my dad at some subconscious level. But we get to be, again, super honest with, is it actually helping me, bringing me closer to being the woman I want people to think that I am? You know what I mean? And the way that this shows up in some circumstances is I will hear people say, well, I'm aware that I do that. And awareness is not enough. Saying that you're aware that you do something and then not taking action to shift that behavior is still ignorance. It is still not embodiment. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, I know that I hurt you, but I know that I hurt you. Okay, well, do you plan to take action on that? Or is that something that you don't intend to action? Because that's where the real clarity is. That's where I need to know where I'm willing to go and where I'm not willing to go. And you get to be honest about that, right? This is not about good or bad, right or wrong. This is about, is this who you desire to be in this moment and in all these moments going forward? And is this the ripple effect you desire to create? Because every action, every thought, every behavior creates a ripple effect that you may be aware of or you may not have been aware of up until this point. Next question. Let me open my notes up again. What can you do now? What can you do now? Right? Again, awareness is not enough. Awareness is the first step. I am aware that I'm self-critical. Okay, great. So how are you changing that? Do you plan to change that? Do you have the action items that you're going to take to change that? Are you learning a new way of speaking to yourself? Are you practicing a new way of speaking to yourself? Do you repair in moments when you revert to old patterns of criticism or self-doubt or self-loathing or self-deprecation, right? What are the actions that you're taking to shift all of this? And then, and only then, after you've answered all these questions, after you've done the deep reflection, go into assessing the masculine and feminine energy. And I will tell you that you're only one. And even if you dressed me up in men's clothing, and even if you shifted some of my mannerisms, I'd still be feminine. So the essence is what is being referred to when we talk about masculine and feminine energy. And that gets really convoluted because people say, well, structure is masculine. And I say, well, you're a woman and you have bones. So what's the difference? Anyways, have fun with these questions. Have a beautiful day. Talk to you soon.